I don't know what number it is, of the analysis of the ongoing general elections results rallies going on by the Electoral Commission at the National Tally Center in Chambogo, as well as we will be taking a look at the various announcements being made of the members of parliament who have gone through, those who have lost. It's a massive, massive purge, if you like me, of sitting MPs. Big names are out, and most probably discussing even the results of the parliamentary elections might be, a little more interesting. But the big one is the big one, the presidential. To discuss or to analyze the issues going on, I have a panel of illustrious men seated here. I must apologize, but with the rider, I tried as much as possible. The team at UBC tried to get for us a lady or some ladies, and 3-4 trials, the lady said, no, thank you, we will watch, but we cannot travel, we cannot move at night. It's risky to move at night in this time. So we couldn't get any lady on the team here, but the guys who decided to take the plunge and all the risk are here. Let me start from my immediate left, Mr. Morrison Rakakamba. He's a researcher but speaks for NRM in some quarters. Morrison, most welcome and good to see you.
No, it's a pleasure to be at UBC. Thank you for inviting me.
Don't tell me it's your first time.
Where in this refurbished, new and improved UBC?
It has been the same always.
No, this looks very nice. Yeah.
Okay, I think the last time you came, you were on the ground floor. This is the second floor, so that's why it looks different.
No, I used to move a lot around here.
Okay.
When I was in the presidency, close. Yeah.
Good to see you. Next to Morrison, on his left, is Mr. Ramadan Gobi, our analyst here, and a permanent panelist on Behind the Headlines. Gobi, you're most welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here again.
How is today?
Today is good.
Results coming out, crossing 50%.
We are watching almost. TV. What do we do? Nothing else left us with.
No Facebooking.
Nothing like that.
Good.
So
no
it's been good actually watching the mainstream media being the main point where all of us are getting information.
It's interesting.
I think this is the first time I'm doing this in like 20 years or something.
It's interesting to see the Andrews coming back to the forum. People, the Twitters, social media had literally taken over. Yeah. And we don't care whether Mwenda writes his story. But extreme left, I have Andrew Mwenda, and he's a veteran journalist. He's CEO of the Independent News Magazine. And Andrew is here with us to do the analysis. Andrew, you're most welcome back.
Why do you forget that I'm the old man of the clan?
Old man of the clan.
Our ancestors, you see, that's why you got COVID. The spirits of our ancestors were not happy with you. So they said, you see, you Charles, why do you ignore referring to the old man as an old man? Now you see, I don't want you to get Ebola.
So which gods? Today. The gods of the Batoro or the Luo?
But you know the Batoro are the grandparents of the Luo.
Yes. So we controlled them.
No, so we left the younger one. We said, you stay behind. For us, the elderly, let's go and occupy new lands. So our grandchildren.
Good. Andrew, it is good to see you.
Always my great pleasure. And congratulations upon overcoming COVID.
Thank you so much.
I followed your sickness on Facebook. Now that they have shut down Facebook, I don't have any information about your health.
But my technical team is saying we first pick some information from the announcement being made by Electoral Commission right now at the National Tally Center.
603. Total number of polling stations, 34,684. Total number of polling stations received as of now, 22,488, which represents 64.84 of the total number of polling stations. These are the statistics. Amuriat Oboy Patrick, 232,109 votes, which represents 3.57% of the valid votes cast for the candidates. Kabuleta Kiza Joseph, 33,845, which represents 0.52%. Na Kalembe Nancy Linda, 27,271, which represents 0.42%. Katumba John, 22,666, representing 0.35%. Kyagulanyi Sentam Robert, 1,993,236, representing 30.64%. Mao Nobat, 44,486, representing 0.68%. Mayambala Wile, 10,908, representing 0.17%. Mugisha Muntu Greg, 39,351, representing 0.60%. Mwesije Fred, 18,124, representing 0.28%. Tumukunde Henry Kakurugu, 35,265, representing 0.54%. Yoweri Museveni Haburwa Kaguta, 4,047,820, 4,047,820, representing 62.23%. Valid votes, 6,505,081. Invalid votes, 264,198, representing 3.90% of total votes cast. Total votes so far, 6,769,279, representing 37.39% of the registered voters. Spoiled votes, 17,999. These, again, are cumulative results. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me. Now, our next reading will be at midnight. Midnight. See you then.
We keep waiting for the next reading. We would like to just send out another reminder out there to viewers and members of electoral colleges, for special interest groups. We still have elections coming up for members of parliament, for special interest groups, or the delegates conferences convening this weekend, starting on Sunday, and elections going through Monday, 18th. Regional conference for election of order persons representing order persons to Parliament for Central will be at Luwelo Diocese Guest House in Luwelo Town, and we are convening 17th and 18th of January. The National Conference for election of workers representatives to Parliament will convene at Chibuli Senior Secondary School in
bring us up to speed with what has just been announced. So far, the number of polling stations that have been returned are 22,488 out of 34,684 polling stations across the country. And the provisional results from the announced by the Electoral Commission shows that candidate Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has so far polled 4,047,820, representing 62.23%, and followed by candidate Honorable Chagulanyi, who has so far polled 1,993,236, representing 30.64%. The third candidate is Honorable Amuriat Patrick, who has so far polled 232,109, representing 3.57%. The rest of the candidates we shall be mentioning as we go on, but for now I have picked the first three, and we will be discussing starting from now as we look at the different dynamics and variables going on in this election. Let me start with the newest visitor here, Morrison.
Yes.
What do you make so far of this election from your impression?
Well, I think first of all, the numbers I see are not surprising, because there are a number of data points that pointed to a clear Museveni victory and a clear NRM victory. Remember, before we voted on January 14th, there were two major elections that happened across Uganda. The first one was local council elections. And those local council elections, the NRM won by over 70%. And if you're talking about the grassroots, retail politics, where the voters are and where the operational architecture of any elections operation, it is at the grassroots level. And that is where the NRM won by 70%. Then there was another election of the youth council across all the districts of Uganda. And these youth, 80%, NRM took it. So I think it was becoming much more clear, if you look at that trend line, that the NRM was also going to perform extremely very well when it comes.
But if I made a follow-up of
when
that,
it comes to the general election,
the youth won, including in areas of Kampala, in areas of Wakiso, but what is turning out so far shows a shock or a trouncing of actually the incumbent members of parliament and ministers have fallen victim in Kampala, in central Uganda, in areas of Wakiso.
But you see,
so what is the what is that mismatch about?
The dynamics of the politics at constituency level, at parliamentary level, are extremely very different from presidential level. And if you look at Uganda's parliamentary attrition rate, you know, the number of, you know, these MPs don't come back. It's usually over 60%. Most of them, the incumbents, really, they do actually lose. And by the way, make no mistake, the other thing that I see is that supporters of Kyagulanyi and Bobi Wine, I think, really overrated him. Because remember, he has not managed to
How did they overrate him?
Let me finish this point.
The facts are showing.
No.
I just want to remind you that the facts that we are getting, and these are provisional, I must add.
But look at the trend line, it's very clear.
The facts that we are getting shows from Luero, across Kampala, up to Masaka, from, I think, Bujiri, so far, across Busoga, up to Kampala, and then across Mityana. I think it is Mubende so far. We shall be getting these figures. I must add that these are provisional. They show that the guy actually mobilized massively and has got his people winning and defeating both some FDC, but most importantly some NRM. Isn't that not true?
I have always believed, and I stated it, that Bobi Wine Kyagulanyi was always a provincial candidate. I have always really said that. So for me, that is really not surprising. But also remember that previous candidates like Kizza Besigye have always defeated President Museveni and the NRM in the central region. For many years, Kizza Besigye used to sweep northern Uganda, but the dynamics changed. And the point I was trying to make before you actually interjected is that Bobi Wine has failed to expand the Besigye coalition. Because remember, in 2006, Kizza Besigye got 37%, when Museveni got, I think, 59% at that time. And I can tell you that this election, Bobi Wine is not going to get 37%.
Okay.
So to that extent, the architecture of politics, so the map of politics in Uganda, in terms of red, yellow, and whatever, it has remained the same. So I think it is important now for Ugandans to go ahead and heal, because I think Bobi Wine didn't promise the truth.
Okay, Mwenda, coming at that point, is that the same impression you have? Or what do you think about these results as they stand? 4 million for Museveni, 62% so far. 1.9 for Bobi Wine, 30% so far, but still counting. What do you think about them? And then make a comment following from what he's saying, that Bobi Wine promised lies, especially in relation to the changes in parliamentary seats.
Well, first of all, I think that Bobi Wine has realigned Ugandan politics in a fundamental way, in really a fundamental way. Morrison is not right to say that Museveni, Besigye used to win Central. No. Museveni always won Central. Besigye won Kampala, Wakiso, and Mukono in 2016.
True.
Yeah. He didn't win any other district, I think.
Yeah.
I need to check, but I remember 3 districts he could have won here. Maybe Masaka.
Greater Kampala.
Yes, but Museveni always won Buganda.
Yes.
That is one. And Museveni did not perform very well in northern Uganda in 2001, 2006, and 2016. In 2011, he did slightly better. He got about 45%, but he was always defeated there. What Bobi Wine has done, and I think this is a boon for Museveni, it's a good thing for Museveni as a candidate, is he has wiped Museveni out of Buganda, right? But I think the price of wiping Museveni out of Buganda was to consolidate Museveni's support in the West, because Museveni had an average vote per district in Western Uganda of about 70%. Now he has above 85%. Then in the north and northeast, Teso and Lango, Acholi, West Nile, Besigye was a competitive candidate there, striking within 40, 50, 60, 65, 70%, depending on which election. But Bobi Wine has failed to make a mark in the north. So Museveni has enjoyed growth across the whole country. And then where I agree with Morrison is that Bobi Wine became a provincial candidate, contained in Buganda and Busoga. Very little of eastern Uganda outside of Busoga has Bobi Wine won. So essentially, Bobi Wine has realigned the politics whereby NRM, all its senior ministers have lost in Buganda.
All of them?
Without exception. We are waiting. I want to see which one of them has won. And Bobi Wine has been beating himself in some districts like Masaka by 20 to 80%.
Yeah.
So that's a serious realignment. Because Museveni, you go to areas like Luweru, where Museveni used to win and where he lost his...
the NRM's maker,
yes,
as they call it.
Yes, Museveni has been wiped out there. So I think that Bobi Wine got what I would call an ethnic vote for Baganda. Baganda turned up to vote.
Didn't you expect it?
Actually, not to the degree he has beaten Museveni. I thought Bobi Wine would defeat Museveni in many parts of Buganda, but Museveni remained competitive. The only areas Museveni has won, like Liantonde, like Mubende, there are Banyoro and Bahima there. You go to Nakaseke, Museveni has barely 50%, but Nakaseke has a lot of Valalo there, Bahima, and Banyarwanda there. So Museveni has also won Sembabele. Again, it's in Buganda, but it's not ethnic Baganda there. So Baganda have changed. But the more Baganda have changed, also the more people in the north have changed towards Museveni. I ask myself, is Uganda going back to the original politics of the 60s and 80s where Obote had created a coalition around Buganda? You know, Buganda in 62 was asking for a special status. So if you ever wanted to isolate Buganda, you could rally the rest of Uganda against Buganda. Now it's not Museveni who has done it. Incidentally, it is Bobi Wine who has rallied Uganda against the rest of Uganda. Because how do you explain Museveni's performance in Teso?
Yes.
Museveni is above 70% in Teso areas.
Including, I think he beat Amuriat in his polling station.
Yes,
polling station.
yes.
He has beaten Amuriat in his own district, Kumi.
And he's sailing, his average vote in Teso is above 70. In Western Uganda is above 85. Yeah. In the north is above 65.
Kirukura, where I think he has got 98 point something.
Yes, he got 98%. Kamwenge 93%.
But look, but before I bring Gobi in, Andrew, you're saying Bobi Wine is an ethnic candidate or provincial candidate, you and Morrison call it. But why don't you give credit to Bobi Wine, an upstart guy, who is picking votes that not even Besigye picked in Kiruhura, the number of votes, I think. In places like Ibanda, I saw about...
No, that's not true. That's not true. Let me give you the numbers. Yeah. Museveni won in Kiruhura, which is Museveni's home village, home district. Museveni got 87% in Kiruhura. Besigye got 90% or 10%. Bobi Wine has about 1.3% in Kiruhura. 1.3. In fact, outside of Buganda and Busoga, Bobi Wine is performing... In fact, this is the ideal situation, I think, for the opposition. I don't know whether it is practical to work. If you had a ticket of Besigye and Bobi Wine, so that Bobi Wine can rally Buganda the way he has rallied it, Besigye, because he came from Western Uganda, had the capacity to push Museveni down from his current 85-87% to, say, 70, 68. Then Besigye was competitive in Northern Uganda, getting 45 to 60% in particular areas, and Northeast Teso. So if Bobi Wine could have delivered to Besigye, Busoga and Buganda, they could have forced a second round or even one defeated Museveni. What I don't know is the voter behavior. Would do a ticket where Bobi Wine is a vice presidential running mate. It's not under our constitution, but you can announce it in advance that we are running as one team, me and Bobby. I don't know whether Baganda would have shown broken ranks with Museveni to vote Besigye because he has Bobi Wine as his attached as a vice presidential running mate. You see what I mean? I don't know voter behavior there, how it would act.
Good.
But what I have seen is that for every single gain that Bobi Wine has made, Museveni has gained another elsewhere, about 2 or 1.5.
Gobi, conversely, given the numbers that are being reported in West, let's first leave North and parts of East. Would you accuse the president of gathering similar provincial, as they are calling it, votes, or his is a different, a different reality out of a different voter behavior? Why these figures mismatch that Andrew is and Morrison is partly referring to?
Charles, we started on this conversation yesterday.
True.
That perhaps, and already with very limited kind of data which you had gotten yesterday, we had seen a trend pointing to the return of sectarian vote in Uganda. Like Andrew has said, it's now very clear when you look at the map and also how the votes are coming in, the return of these results, that the sectarian vote is back, in the sense that the Baganda have voted massively Bobi Wine and his party members who are again Baganda. But also you need to look at the West and see that Ankole and the surrounding ethnic groups have also massively, this time, voted for Yoweri Museveni.
Except the Bakonjo. Banyoro, Batoro, Banyangoro, Bachiga, which is one language. They have voted massively for Museveni.
I will not go into splitting hairs, but that is very clear now.
Have a historical problem.
But even where
I'm sure they did not hear
Morrison, why are you speaking about it in low tones?
Because your statement had very interesting undertones that are very provincial.
Let me say it.
Sorry, go.
Let me say it, Andrew. What Morrison is saying, that you see the Batoro have a historical problem with the Bakoni.
Which is true. There was even a rebellion by the Bakonjo to break out from Toro Kingdom.
don't bring your Kilani politics into my conversation. Sorry, Prof.
But I thought the conversation was that it has brought about ethnic politics.
It's a serious one, this one.
Okay, Gobi, continue.
You know, this one is he calls himself the old man of the clan, and he has
also,
that clan.
He also one time declared himself the deputy, I think deputy prime minister or the
deputy king of Toro. I never declared myself. Kabamba Iguru, the first appointed me deputy king to him.
So on a serious note, even where President Museveni now made inroads into the north, the east, where Besigye was always challenging him in a way which he had not seen before. This time when he became number one, the number two in those places is the homeboy.
Someone from there, homeboy.
Is the homeboy. In Iteso,
it is
Museveni is leading, Amuriat second.
True.
There's no Bobi Wine there.
True.
In the north, Museveni is number one, Mao is number two. In several districts.
No, but that is in Arua it is not, in Acholi it is not, in Acholi, that's in Acholi, yeah, which still reinforces
because
the
it's a homeboy of Acholi, not
yeah.
necessarily. When I say the north, actually, I was referring to Acholi.
That's a major, a major problem.
I know.
Don't say that again, because you can cause problems.
I'm causing problems already in you. I can see what is happening.
But it is okay.
So it's kind of we are back to that politics where I think I've read it in history. I read the book of Professor Karugire, where it was quite so easy for anyone to mobilize the rest of the country against a certain candidate by just pointing at a Muganda candidate being supported by fellow Baganda, and it would become so easy for someone to sell it to other ethnic groups, especially in the north and in the east, that look, these guys here are trying to create a Buganda kingdom within Uganda. But this is not by design.
Going forward, and I need us to, you are, you know, trusted analysts, and you're speaking to an audience which is national in character. I need you, when you make that point, and it is fundamental, I need you to tell us, going forward, what should the candidate that will win this election ensure that this problem is rooted out? Because even in the 10 points program, I think it is number 4, which is talking about national unity.
Yeah.
And can it be achieved amidst this kind of return?
I was actually coming there. I would think that given the signs that the incumbent might retain this top seat in the country, he is going to have a very, very odious job of ensuring that he doesn't use too much emotions in terms of what message are the Baganda sending towards him, and ensure that this Buganda question is addressed